So here we are outside the club rooms now, and Hedge, this is the pathway up to number one.
This is the pathway up to number one here, and the ground here. This is the original level where the car park is here, and the road went up to Armstrong's along here, and of course all this shit come down off the hill here, and they levelled it all up. The lane was right here. You could come right up through here, up into that valley up there where the orchard was.
Let's go up onto number one and have a look.
Yeah.
So, quite incredible to think that this over here was all ground level.
Yeah.
Do you remember much of that day, waking up and discovering that the hill had come down?
In the middle of the night, yeah, made a hell of a bloody racket. Like, you could hear this thing, we didn't know what the hell was going on. Finally, the slip arrived. Yeah.
And from what I understand, just looking back at the club rooms, the thinking was we might find ourselves with our club rooms gone, but the slide went right up to the front of the door.
Right up there and just stopped. And we were pretty bloody lucky, all right. So we got under here and like at Christie Street there, we're coming down here. There's rows of houses down here on this side of the street.
Sort of how far up to the 22, or closer than that even?
Oh no, only about halfway along really. The soccer paddock, because the soccer paddock would have been from here over.
So the soccer paddock here was at ground level with the club,
here,
and it ran up that way.
The soccer paddock was pretty level actually. And the road went up that way, and our ground followed it, and then there was the sand pit up in the corner, and there was a house way up in the corner there, which was the Keens, and Tom Keen comes down. Tom was here yesterday watching the rugby. That was his family home, which just got demolished, just come down with the slip, and there was a wee road that went down there, and there was 3 or 4 houses up that street there, and a couple along the road here, and then was our labour hall, which was our club rooms.
So just if we walk over, the light's pretty blinding here. Looking, if we were at ground level, looking along the soccer paddock here, the football paddock,
yeah.
That hill has obviously changed now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What was the shape of the hill before?
So we would be coming along here, and then it went up a wee bit, and then it rose up to where it is, but it was well back, further back, and if you've got to go right up to, and it went right up level, the length of the soccer paddock of course, and then it started rising up to the sand pit quarry. So it was halfway up Miller Pit, this ground over here by then.
The movement has been in a semicircle and has pushed all the mud and debris around the corner down to the bottom of what was a soccer field, and the whole of the soccer field is completely covered with a pile of mud that looks to be 10 to 20 feet high.
My next door neighbour, I got word that he got his truck stuck, and I went down the street, and all I knew was power wires were flashing around my head, and I run back home, got my family out, and brought them down to my mother-in-law, and then I went back up and got all the old folk out.
A wee girl who's about nearly 2.5 is the only one who's taken. She wants to go home. She's crying a bit now.
He saw the road just sinking away like that in the opened up area, and so we didn't even go down the road to see if we could jump across, because the power pole at that stage was at 45 degrees across the end of our drive, and we could see it going over and over and over. The next thing, the power wires broke with a mighty bang, and about then we really got worried.
The whole sort of crack opened up, and it seems to be an awful lot of houses down in this great big gap. It must be 100 yards wide and 50, 60 feet deep, I suppose. It just opened up, and from what people were saying, it just sort of suddenly happened and disappeared, and houses just disappeared down the crevasse. Some of them still intact, and they were breaking up as we were standing there. Walls were caving in, and there's sort of lots of breaking noises coming. It's more than a crevasse. It's like a great big canyon that's just opened up.
Just a complete bloody disaster. That's all it is.
Crashing, splintering of wood, glass going, people running all over the place.
What were your first thoughts?
Get the kids out, just start. Well, I just started to laugh, because I didn't know what else to do. Either laugh or cry. It's unbelievable.
It's just like a monster that's got under the ground, spreading its tentacles to the extent that you wonder, well, when are you going to be grabbed?